And we are back with CubeCon, our last draft of the night before Top 64 Sunday morning here in Madison, Wisconsin. I'm Justin Parnell, joined by Dave McDarby, and we are watching round 2 of Dave McDarby's Live the Dream Cube as he's here with me in the booth. We watched co-creator David White win a narrow game 3 in our first round. But in round 2, he is facing some stiff competition.
True. So so David White may have created the cube they're playing. Jonathan Brosoff created the convention we're playing at.
And I would say could be giving David White a run for his money in number of times this cube has been drafted.
True. So Jonathan Brosoff, J-Bro himself, is a mean Magic Online cuber.
Yes.
He has won the most vintage cubes of anybody of all time, I think.
And I think it's actually a pretty solid
large margin. Large margin. So Jonathan Brosoff is no stranger not only to cubes, but for the Live the Dream cube.
Yes.
He counted one of his favorite cubes, and he's here representing it. One of his favorite cards is also a Thraben Inspector. Where might we be able to find that Thraben Inspector in this draft?
Jonathan Brosoff has drafted Thraben Inspector, but it's in the board. It is not in his main deck, which should bring shame to his family.
Yep. Well, we know that he picked it highly, just so if he can't have it,
no one can have it.
No one else can have it.
His dream is making sure that no one else has Thraben Inspector but him. So
yes.
He's already lived it.
He's already lived it. So instead, he's playing black and red, the Rakdos colors, and he's trying to look for an aggressive strategy, a little grindy, a little machine heady, backed up with some Liliana Planeswalkers and some aggressive red card advantage cards. So we've got Falcon Wrath Aristocrat and Urabrask, the Heretic Praetor, for trying to hasty 4-powered threats, but also he's got such cards as Noise Marine and Chaos Defiler. These are both new cards for the Warhammer 40k Commander product that give him card advantage, but also are aggressive threats.
I love it, and it looks like our players are ready to go. Noise Marine into Falcon Wrath Aristocrat is that's the cascade I want to see.
Yeah, that is what dreams are made of. Cascade
dreams are made
Cascade
of,
is a lot of people's dreams. And so it definitely is. Jonathan Brosoff notably has no actual signets or 2-mana ramp spells in his deck. However, he does have a treasure map, which after a few turns gets into a crazy card advantage rep engine, and that's what he'll be playing on turn 2 today.
Which is the one of the best plays for him on turn 2.
It is. I think one of his only other plays is Cut to Ribbons, which doesn't have a lot of targets in David's deck, since David is primarily an artifact-based ramp deck. However, Jonathan will answer turn 3 with Professional Facebreaker, which is a 2/3 from Streets of New Capenna, and it's not only evasive threat, a mana generator, but also card advantage engine.
And here, speaking of 40k cards, because there's a number in J-Bro's deck, we have don't know the name of this one, but I know what it does.
It's Space Marine Devastator.
Space Marine Devastator,
which is basically rampaging Rambunctious Hound, but for 1 mana less.
That's exactly right.
There's also Core Sanctifiers, but outside of those 3 white creatures, they're basically the only mono white creatures that can destroy artifacts or enchantments.
And enchantments.
Yes, either one.
Yeah.
So this one is a 4-mana. It's a 4-mana 3/3. You can make more of them. Squad goals. But it lets white actually answer the more problematic card types in Magic the Gathering. But it is not strong enough to block a Professional Facebreaker on its own.
No.
Due to the Menace or Menace.
It needs friends. This is not a novice Facebreaker. That would not have Menace.
Yes.
This Professional Facebreaker has Menace.
Breaking Faces. And I mentioned before, the Space Marine Devastator will get cut down in its prime. And now, Cut to Ribbons has that flashback mode that is really easy to forget about with all the crazy contraptions and concoctions happening.
That is a heck of a finisher for J-Bro if we were to get to the phase of the game where it would be important.
Yes.
Now, we have a Liliana, the Last Hope. And despite this cube not necessarily dealing with really tiny -1s for toughness, incredibly powerful card, because if you're not able to threaten it, it can start churning out zombies really quickly.
Yes, so Liliana, the Last Hope, doesn't, like you said, doesn't kill a lot of things, but just the 3-mana threat that you must interact with it within 4 turns, or you get this overwhelming zombie horde that will eventually win the game. But David has managed to play AC of the Gyre Strait, which is basically a Tatiova, but you can play an extra land a turn. It's the combo. It's chocolate and peanut butter.
And all it cost you was an extra mana.
Yep. But Jonathan will answer that with Noxious Gearhulk. That Professional Facebreaker, not only has it given you mana ramp, but it's been fixing Jonathan for double black, because he only had 1 black mana before that.
And J-Bro only has a City of Brass in his deck for fixing. That's it.
That's it. So that Professional Facebreaker has just been paying him in dividends. He might also be able to pay those dividends with Lethal Scheme that's also in Jonathan's hand for David White's next 6-mana creature.
I love Lethal Scheme.
Lethal Scheme does so much.
It's what a great card.
Some people say Stoke the Flames is the black Lethal Scheme.
I think that's actually fair.
Yes.
I think we've come full circle on that.
So David White plays the land, sadly does not get to draw a card with it, and is considering his options against a Planeswalker and 2 creatures that all 3 would actually take the game away by themselves.
Yeah, we have Noxious Gearhulk, which obviously has destroys a creature, but 2 creatures with menace, notably.
Oh, yes. It's not like David's White deck is very good at blocking, but Noxious Gearhulk...
It's worse now.
Yeah, Noxious Gearhulk, not a disaster, a masterpiece.
That one certainly is.
It certainly is. So David White has Chromatic Orrery in play, so extra 5 mana. So David White has access to 13 mana. Emrakul, watch out. Not in his deck, but David White will be taking 7 damage. Oh, Prophetic Bolt.
Prophetic Bolt on the Noxious Gearhulk, which is good, but we are still 2 turns away from that Liliana Ultimate, which is 7 counters. It's on 6. Nothing to target, but we're going to continue to develop lands or mana on J-Bro's side as he's going to get this treasure at the end of combat.
I bet David White is looking for the true companion card to his deck, Binding of the Old Gods, so he can take care of that Liliana.
I would be surprised if there was another card that he was looking for more. Maybe Utter End.
Utter End would be right
good.
after that,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
But okay, so we've got Chromatic Orrery versus Liliana and Professional Facebreaker. Who you got?
I mean, it's tough for me to not go with Professional Facebreaker and Liliana. Despite there being a lot of sledgehammers. Oh, and we have Golos.
I'm going to go with Golos.
As J-Bro would say, the reason for the season for this deck, this is the first overall pick, and Golos is going to threaten an immediate activation in about 3 seconds.
If someone played Golos and activated the same turn, I'd only have one response.
You've lived the dream?
Hachi-Machi. that is a powerful combination of game actions.
Okay, so that is David White almost fetched the Zoria Chantry and then just put that island directly back into his deck, but figured it out, snatched it back, and put it into his hand.
We got there. So now, it doesn't matter what's in your hand.
Spin that wheel.
Spin the wheel. Press the button.
These are the slowest mana that's ever been tapped for a Golos activation.
Oh, we're actually going Binding Light is going to take care of Liliana.
Absolutely not.
That's so respectful.
I'm spinning the wheel.
That's so respectful.
You got a whole turn.
Oh, Giganta in the hand?
Nope. I can't be.
One in the hand is worth 2.
I can't. Banishing Light, while maybe the technically correct play, that's not the correct play for this cube.
Well, it looks like taking that line will be lethal for Golos as he's been stung to death by Lethal Sting.
And that's exactly why. You want to get that activation out.
Well, we'll see. No,
we won't see. It's in the graveyard.
Well, now we have it looks like Xanathar was been hiding out in David White's hand, and it might be the thing that Brain Maggot takes upon. The worm in the little ear. A worm in a beholder, isn't that fun? Maybe it's just eating the goldfish.
Brain Maggot is a card I really dislike thinking of the art of.
Well, don't look at the art then. It's right on the screen.
Thanks, Michael.
Don't worry. That's not the art in the cube. It's the other art that I have in the cube. So it's okay.
The F&M one?
Yeah, correct.
It's way less gross.
Yeah. Well, Mesmeric Fiend is also kind of gross. All the 2-mana black 1/1s that take a card are all just gross.
Kite Self Rebooter?
I mean, it's a gross card, and it's just like, it's a flyer for 2. There it is.
There he is.
Look.
Our boy can't get a creature, though.
Well, creatures aren't good in Magic. It's all about spells.
Would have been, I'm pretty sure that J-Bro's glad that he had that Brain Mag instead of a Kite Self Rebooter against that Xanathar.
That's true. So David is untapped. He has 1 color permanent in play. He can spend 5 mana and already draw 1 card. Or he can play Siphon Insight and see what he gets from Jonathan Brostov's deck. We're looking for a gold card that costs a lot of mana.
David is going to live to regret, or maybe not live to regret activating that Golos.
We're going to see. We have a reader. I think you're just looking at the flashback cost.
Yeah.
So David is now going to get. David can cast spells as though they're any mana, color of any mana, twice. And he's going to get Noise Marine. This is one of David's favorite cards of the deck. A 3/2 with Cascade for 5. So we can get anything that costs 4 less. We got Lotus Cobra.
Not one of the better picks.
But that land and Lotus Cobra are out of here. They're gone.
It's true.
And maybe that was worth the price of admission. Plus, now he has 3 colors of mana of permanence in play. and he will draw 3 cards.
That's a big difference, actually.
Yeah, Noise Marine got 2 more colors of mana for the Chromatic Ori.
Now, are we going to see, and we have Giganta.
Now Giganta didn't add the colors in play, but is a 5/5. And Jonathan Brostoff was so far ahead. What happened?
I actually don't know what happened. It all happened so fast. Essentially taking a turn off to simply cast that Brain Maggots, and then not much else happened.
Yeah.
And now we're faced with 3 creatures on the other side, all of them quite expendable. We're going to sacrifice a treasure to see what we can cast for this turn, and that's going to be an uncastable card with double black.
Yeah, Dothi Voidwalker is extremely powerful, but does cost BB. And looks like Collective Defiance is the answer to Unsure.
Looks like we're going to have a team-up spell. This is going to be 2 cards here.
Yep. It's 4 to the Noise Marine, and David White's going to take 3 and go to 9. Yep, give me back my Noise Marine.
Oh, he found the swamp.
Oh, so
what a lucky guy.
Jonathan Brostoff fully escalated.
I think I would probably be attacking with no.
I don't think so.
No, I forgot that Giganta was there.
Yeah,
Slid it back over to the middle.
It's easy to forget the companion that you start every game with is in play.
It really is.
Yeah. So that Jonathan Brostoff was very fortunate to find that swamp, but now he's deployed all his threats. No cards in the hand. Hellbent, as Rakdos players often are.
Yep.
And we're up to David's whim.
Isn't that what they want to do?
That's
what I was told in 2006.
In one very specific limited format,
okay.
Yes. Every other part of Magic, probably not. We'll see what David hit with Siphon Insight. It was a rather quick decision, so either it was 2 lands or 1 land in the spell.
Yeah. I think it was something good.
Something good?
Something good.
We're attacking for 5.
Don't know what it was. Yeah, that means it was something good.
It begins.
Yeah.
The long haul, the long crawl. We've got the Eldest Reborn.
That is pretty good.
From Jonathan Brostoff.
And that's probably going to get rid of probably the Brain Maggot. Really?
This is difficult.
Yeah, it is, because we have an unblockable creature with Dothi Voidwalker. It's not going to be that one.
We have an unblockable creature right now with Professional Facebreaker. Facebreaker! What's that says?
And notably, the Professional Facebreaker not exactly shortening the amount of turns to attack David to death, because we have David at 9, 3 damage coming through with the unblockable Dothi Voidwalker. So want to keep that Xanathar around, away from David for a little bit longer. And I think that's fair.
Locked away. So Jonathan Brostoff needs to play the card because he's going to lose it to his own Eldest Reborn. Like was siphoned by Insight. So Jonathan is a bit in dire spot. And remember, we have that cut to Ribbons. Ribbons still in the yard, just hanging out.
It's true.
Just chilling. So David White's at 6 theoretically with the
So as it turns out,
he virtually won.
Well,
David White's at virtually won.
Maybe we should have sacrificed the Brain Maggots after all.
Maybe, but that's not the road we're on. But I mean, David White cannot kill Jonathan next turn. He can't. There's probably no combination card. So Jonathan can put David to 6 and then cast a spell in his hand, which isn't a land because he would have won.
And cut ribbons. X would equal 5 right now, and it's going to be difficult to deal with that shadow creature. It's going to be really tough. And we see red.
Looks like a braid has been drawn by probably. He's got some decisions. Is it the Lotus Cobra or is it the Chromatic Ori?
I think it's the Lotus Cobra.
I think it's the Chromatic Ori. David White's also Hellbent, basically. He needs to start drawing cards. And he would draw 5 cards. Or he draws 5 cards? No, 4 cards with the Ori. He can't.
3 cards. Oh, White. Yes.
Yeah, Jonathan can't let David draw 3 cards. Now, if David tapped. Oh, yeah, okay. It is under. Oh, so now Jonathan can cast the Chromatic Ori. Is that enough to kill him with ribbons? It is.
He can't cast it.
Why not?
Because it costs 7 mana.
You cast without paying its mana cost.
Oh.
Dothi Voidwalker is a messed up card, let me tell you.
No, it still can't kill him.
It can't?
No.
Why?
Because he needs 11 mana. He doesn't have 11 mana.
Right. So Jonathan can attack this turn?
Well, he can always attack and just cast it anyway next turn.
Wait, so he either attacks this turn, hopes fade a removal spell, then kill him next turn with Chromatic Ori, or just Ori now and draw a card. and be able to kill him next turn with the Ori in play. So what's more likely to get removed, the creature or the Ori? Okay, Jonathan.
I think it's not going to matter. He's got one draw step. He either has to kill the creature right now, and then continue, not just like for right now, but continue to fade a land drop for the rest of the game.
Yes. So David's going to hit for 7 with some green creatures that add mana. And he's got a Tropic Island and something else in his hand. It's got to be something good. Ooh, Partner's Ornament can also draw a card. But instead, we've got Nahiri the Harbinger back again.
And that is able to exile the aforementioned Dalti Voidwalker, which is what it's going to do. And that's still exiled. You're not going to see that again, Mr. White.
So Jonathan Rose does have lethal on board right now with the 1 damage from the Brain Magnet. So
he's true. And we're empty-handed, so that will do it if the line is visible.
Which I believe it is. Jonathan Rothoff is no new person to cube.
Me or Nahiri? And J-Bro said, whoa, hold on a minute.
Oh.
Now, are you quite sure? Are we showing the cut to ribbons? Wow.
Okay.
Now you were saying.
Well, so it is the mischief art, which may be more difficult. That is one of the downsides to having a cube with wacko arts. So David White's brought back Noxious Gearhulk, took out something, Brain Maggot, I assume, which puts him up to 5.
Oh, this 6? Is.
Okay, so David is popping off, I suppose.
Killing the Brain Maggot to gain 1 life is going to be critical.
Yep. Swinging for 7.
Now J-Bro both has to draw a land and remember.
Well, David White took his graveyard in his hand. He has. Okay. Well,
wow.
We're going on to game 2.
Wow.
We'll make sure the Saga ended up in the right deck, since we're exchanging permanents all the time. There's so much casting your spells, casting my blah, blah, blah. We'll make sure that Saga ends up in the right place for the next game.
Now, there's going to be a time as we continue through this match.
Yes.
Where he's going to draw that cut to ribbons.
Yep.
And have a flashback and be really unhappy with himself.
Yeah. So this cube has a lot of wacky arts and like crazy stuff. And that is my personal taste. I like the new stuff. I like cards looking weird. I want a hand of like different card games and a ham sandwich in the hand and just like look all kinds of stuff. That's what I like. It's kind of crazy. You're living dreams. It does have a downside, which cards are harder to parse, and that's a big part of making cards. That like maybe you want people to expect something and you don't deliver on that.
Yeah.
And for Jonathan Brostoff, who's primarily Magic Online, where Cut to Ribbons is the one art that we've been trained to expect for our whole lives since Amonkhet.
The only art we know.
Yep. And then we get this card that doesn't even look like a Magic card. Some of the arts peel off the stickers.
Not that one.
And not that one. And you never know. Have you tried?
I have not.
Okay, well, cut it up, and you'll see the ribbons that make.
Oh my gosh! I didn't even think of that.
Whoa, call in, the one true God, Nicolas Cage, for some National Geographic history.
Okay.
So we're gonna go to the next game. And Jonathan Brostoff, checking the board. Do we have any board plans from Jonathan Brostoff to defeat the 5-color menace that's been beating everyone?
We do, and something he can always go to, and that's a Thraben Inspector in his board.
Oh, that's powerful.
Now,
with the treasure token, it's castable.
Now, you would expect J-Bro to have Thraben Inspector in the main deck, and I would say we've been talking a lot about forgetting the cut to ribbons is the reason that he lost, but I think it's a Thraben Inspector in the board. It's like Samson cutting off his hair. J-Bro with a Thraben Inspector on board is not as powerful as J-Bro with Thraben Inspector in the main deck.
He's lost his hair. He's lost his ankle. Checking the hack does. Yeah, Thraben Inspector sitting in the board. It's investigating. Why am I in the board? Why am I on the main deck? You can cast me. You can Fireflux and squad into me. There's so many things you can discard me or reanimate me. J-Bro, help me out.
I do have one very specific card I would cite in, and I believe it's the only one. And that is Null Priest of Oblivion. You know why?
Because it attacks for 2 on turn 3?
And it has Menace.
It is Menace Tribal. We're Menace Tribal.
Yeah, but the more you have, the better it is.
True, and the more mana ramp you have, the better it is. But the player's off to a slow start. No play yet. We're on turn 3.
Turn 3? This is not where J-Bro wants to be.
Does David White have the play is put in your hand 8 cards.
And then
I must discard.
Card.
Discard the Gigantha, reanimate it next turn. Combo.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild stuff.
Yep. So still no spells have been cast. Oh, we're okay. Yep. We're rewinding.
I'm just gonna not do
it's
that.
casual RAL. You know,
Yeah.
there's a lot going on. Like
This
cube
is Cube.
So we've got Grief on turn 4. I don't have a lot of discard spells in the cube because it's like not very fun and honestly not very good when you're a handful of 5-6 mana spells where you discard. But Grief not only discards, it can attack for the win. It also has Menace.
And Menace Tribal.
It's Menace Tribal. Not a lot of Menace payoffs in Magic quite yet.
I think producer Michael, can we change J-Bro's deck to Menace Tribal? Can we change the name of the deck to Menace Tribal? I think we've established Thraben Inspectors on the board. It's not coming in.
It's probably not. So we want like Menace for the finish. We need a rhyme.
Menace for the finish. For the finish.
Yep. So we'll do that. So anyway, looks like the Grief. Also, you can Grief turn 1 and ephemerate. That's a dream. This also lived in some other formats.
Yeah, it is. So we have David White's key card.
David White's true companion.
True companion. Binding of the Old Gods
is in the graveyard.
In the graveyard, which makes sense. Obviously, that is both a rant spell and a kill spell for that Grief. So on
David's turn, thanks to Grief, he was able to get a card out of his hand.
Yeah.
So now the companion. So now the companion was able to get in the hand.
Yeah. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah. David does need to discard though, because he has 7 cards plus the one he's not showing. So we'll need to make sure that Dave was able to discard.
Still, because he didn't play a land.
He played a land, but it bounced another land. He used Zori's Chancery.
And now doesn't have a land again. Interesting to discard the mountain. Maybe drew a card.
He also has a swamp in his hand right there. But the other card in his hand might be another land.
Oh, that's a swamp. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Right on.
Plus Gigantho come down next turn and add all the colors he needs. What's the video?
All the colors of the wind. Still not going to be able to block not a single one of J-Bro's Menace creatures.
Not at all.
Which there are many of.
So J-Bro now has Fireflux Squad, and Fireflux Squad, to bring that up, is a hasty 4/3 for 4. We're already playing with power there, but also can like exile another creature, another attacking creature, and just polymorph. So what's better, a 3/3 Menace or another creature's deck? And J-Bro has concluded that the 3/3 Menace is more valuable and just wants a 4/3 haste for 4.
And here it is.
There it is. Bring the beats.
I think I can respect that, taking them down to 13, and we know that what do we got here?
Yeah, it's not a very dream living play, but Jonathan Brosov, his back to the wall, his Thraben Inspectors on the board. Now that you can tell from the deck name anymore.
Now, if we can find a Liliana, and it's exactly what we have, this is going to likely be a very quick game 2.
Yep.
And put David White back on the play. There's still some game left to be played, but I think we're going to be a little shy of that Atraxa to be able to clean some stuff up.
David White doesn't have his Binding the Old Gods in play around, so there's really it's hard for him to come back.
Nor does David have a red source.
True.
Probably thinking that he was going to, with the Giganta, but now we're going to be forced to play a 6-drop that maybe we don't necessarily want to.
Is it time for Progenitor Mimic on Grief to look at your hand?
I think it is.
For information gathering?
Take a little looky-loo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, take it. I may be going out, but...
And a response of an Abrade on the stack.
Here's my hand.
You can take a look.
Lethal Scheme, Liliana Last Hope, and Noise Marine. I'll take that Noise Marine. Don't give you the satisfaction.
That's right. You don't get to have that. I will take lethal damage, but not before I make you discard.
So got some recon. That's fine. So that's basically how Jonathan Brostov needs to win. Attacking
just
with
as
creatures.
He drew it up, played a creature on turn 4 in his aggro deck.
The first spell of the game, being a Grief.
As it sometimes is, but maybe not in this way.
Maybe on turn 4. So David White needs to make sure next turn, next round, next match, next game, he needs to have a ramp spell on turn 2.
Yeah, I think that's going to be pretty critical. And I don't think we're going to see much in the way of sideboarding. J-Bro is going to take a little look. Probably going to poke at that Thraben Inspector.
Just
at the very end. That's even more disrespectful.
He should have that top card of your sideboard just in play, just to show.
Just to look at it to give some, say, you know what? I believe in you, J-Bro, even though you didn't main deck me.
That's true.
Card I want to see that we haven't, Foggenwrath Aristocrat. Big believer in that. And my second or third favorite cube card of all time is in J-Bro's deck. Do you want to guess what it is?
Is it Chaos Defiler, which you know the Oracle text to?
It is not.
Is it City of Brass?
It is not.
Well, then we must be talking about Shriek Mom.
Maybe some years ago it was, but it's not anymore.
Okay, we must be talking about, of course, the pinnacle Lelia the Blade Reforged.
Is that in his deck?
Yes.
Oh, it is. That's a very good one, but that's not.
But I guess it's not your favorite. So you didn't think it was in the deck.
It's not.
Well, then obviously we're talking about Duretti and Genius Iconoclast.
The Spaghetti Man himself.
There he is. You ready?
For spaghetti and Duretti, because that's what he's serving up.
He's ready to rumble.
I absolutely love that Planeswalker.
Yeah, Duretti is the classic 3-mana Planeswalker with self-protection built in.
Since you work Wizards, maybe you can pass this on.
Sure.
So what my dream was when they announced Streets of New Capenna. Sorry, I'm gonna make myself laugh before I get through this. When they announced Streets of New Capenna, I always called Duretti the Spaghetti Man. And what I was hoping is there was going to be some lore where there was going to be a shadowy figure called the Spaghetti Man, and then you were going to see.
Those just the arms of the chair,
exactly.
The chair legs like crawling around.
But you see it in you see a silhouette.
Yeah, silhouette
for most
shot.
Of the story, and then at the end it's revealed to be
Duretti,
the Spaghetti Man. So for the return, the Streets of New Capenna, when it's like Skies of New Capenna for next time, just pass that along.
He's like
free. That's free.
Yeah, he's a riveteer, just like crawling along upside down of like the constructs in the building, the rivets.
Yes.
And stuff. And
so and I don't know if this is on purpose, but his design is very similar to an X-Men character, Cameron Hodge.
Okay, I'll believe you.
Yeah. So
I love a good Cameron Hodge.
Cameron Hodge used to be a human and then kind of got like a lot of mechanical body parts. But anyway, is designed very similarly, like with the mechanical, like spidery kind of legs.
Yep.
And does a lot of the crawling on stuff. Very creepy.
He lost his Pope hat, but in the transition, he gained some really sweet abilities.
Yeah, and a beard.
Well, that's how you show the passage of time.
Yes.
In any male presenting characters,
that's true.
You put a beard on him, time's passed.
Yes. As you now know, formerly clean shaven and a Pope.
Yes. Times are rough.
The disgraced Spaghetti Man. But some could argue more powerful than ever.
You can make 3 copies of artifacts. That's the dream with him. Like, obviously, most people just use him to destroy creatures for some reason.
I'm going for it.
You're going for it?
Yeah.
Did you know?
I'll do what I need to, but
with Doubling Season or Vorinclex Monstrous Raider, you can cast Ready Spaghetti, the Spaghetti Man, of the favorite riveteers on the Streets of New Capenna.
Yes, thank you.
And just immediately ultimate him.
I'm glad you're into that lore. It's definitely true,
dude. I love spaghetti.
Untold stories.
Yeah. So David White heard us from the booth and played a signal on turn 2. Jonathan Brosev also heard us and played his turn 2 artifact.
I'm not going to allow you to do it on your own.
Yeah, just you wait. So now we have the classic. Do you upkeep Scry, or do you play Professional Facebreaker on turn 3?
I play Professional Facebreaker on turn 3.
Yep. Are you where a wise man once said, "They who taps the most mana wins the game"?
Was that you just now?
Oh God, no.
Okay.
That was someone on the internet, I think.
Ooh. Now Liliana on an uncontested board is generally good in any matchup, and J-Bro likely to be filling his board up. And David White, half of the chromatic duo hitting the bin from Liliana.
Yes. However, David is answering with the best card in his deck.
And that's going to be Binding of the Old Gods.
Oh, I was saying Flooded Strand.
Oh, yes. It could be a Flooded Strand into Binding, which would be a really powerful duo.
That's the Wombo combo. So David White, I actually fought for Liliana Vale's inclusion in this cube. David White was against it, thinking it was too good against it. However,
there it is.
What lives dies, and what dies, you die to Binding the Old Gods.
Yes.
Yeah. This card,
Kaldheim version of Tarmogoyf.
This card really irks me because I'm always searching for a Binding of the Old Gods. Yeah. And there's like, what do you mean? There's no card that's Binding of the Old Gods.
Binding of the Old Gods.
No, it's binding the Old Gods.
Oh, you're just binding them.
You just bind them.
It's the act of, not the story of it.
It's a gerund, I think.
Okay.
A verb turned into a noun.
Yeah.
But anyway, Jonathan Brose was like, you know what? I'm not done. You may have killed what perhaps is the greatest planeswalker in history. That's not named Jason Mind Sculptor.
I think there's a better Liliana in Jonathan Brosov's deck.
Liliana the Necromancer? That's a planeswalker one.
Is it? That's the 7-mana one. Yeah, I actually do know that one.
Okay. and Grief will come down and hit Golos. Jonathan Brostov is saying, you know what? You're not going to have any fun with your cards.
Yeah.
I'm going to here put a stomp at that, and I do not appreciate that.
I am a believer that Liliana the Last Hope is a more powerful Cube card in most instances than Liliana of the Veil.
Really?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, did you learn that from Cube Versus? Oh, you played Commander Versus.
Are you bullying me right now?
Why are you bullying me?
So we see the common get with the second chapter of binding the old gods.
The Zagoth Triome, the true, like, it's the companion to binding the old gods. Like, you bind them right into that Triome. Like,
It's the 1-2 combo.
it's so good. It works with Vidalcan Shackles. It works with Dark Ritual. And it works with Fellows.
It does. There you go. That's
it works with everything.
Trifecta.
Yeah. Like, why would you not want that one?
I could do you a crazier one. It works with Bubbling Muck.
Okay.
Works with High Tide.
Sure. Or, Verdant Awakening. Anyway, it's a high pick in the Bug Cube, I imagine.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, very much so. Noise Marine.
We're looking for a 4-mana spell.
Come on.
We have Cut. Lotus Cobra's cut down his prime. Now here's the question.
Is he going to remember?
Is he going to
remember last game?
Yes. Oh, he's asking, does that cascade? Oh, it cascades, all right. Because it sees it as 4.
Now, good news,
That's
he
okay.
can pick a side.
He cannot pick a side.
No, he can't.
Ribbons has Aftermath,
That's
which means
true.
it
Only
must be cast from the
from the
graveyard.
graveyard,
So you can cast it from the graveyard in other ways, but if you exile it and then cast it, it doesn't
I
work.
don't believe that we can.
No,
I have
cannot.
proof from last game.
Great. You've learned. So here we're talking about rules interactions, and the cube is very complicated.
I think there's going to be a point in time where J-Bro is going to, and Dave White is likely going to take 2 if that trigger is remembered, and the answer is yes. And I think there could be a time where we see a visible remembrance from that first game from J-Bro.
Yeah. It might be. Creatures have Death Touch. It's the classic Death Touch versus Menace matchup.
It's true. And I've seen Binding the Old Gods cast on coverage probably like 9 times this weekend. Do you know how many creatures have actually gained Death Touch?
How many?
0.
0?
0.
Not even 1?
No, not even one single one.
Where are the creatures at? Why don't they have Death Touch? Are they okay?
Yeah.
So David White has a choice. He can cast Fallen Shinobi, which leaves him vulnerable to removal spell, or he can just we're going to utter end your 3/3 Menace to not have any shenanigans. Oh, we're playing the 5/4. So now it's up to the black-red deck to find a piece of removal. And turns out, who knew, Christmas time is here.
Big old piece of removal.
A noxious Gyro Hulk has arrived to destroy a creature.
And we're going to cut that life total in half.
Yeah, and we're going to gain life in the process. Masterpiece indeed. All right, D-White's got his head in his hands. He's back against the wall. Creatures are attacking him. Didn't sign up for that for the Dream Cube.
I got a question. Who's going to be more haunted by this? If J-Bro...
Oh. First off, we have Curse Mirror.
Oh, wow.
In play. So Curse Mirror is a 3-mana rock. It's the red answer to Midnight Clock, but it becomes a hasty clone of something. So not only is he playing a 3-mana creature, 3-mana spell that destroys a creature, gains 5 life, also attacks for 5 with Menace.
Who would be more haunted by the loss?
Yes.
David White, or rather, Jonathan Brostoff, for losing with the... and he does finish it off. Not going to repeat his mistake from the first go.
Yes.
And actually cast ribbons from the discard pile. And what I was going to say is, who would be more upset by losing this match? David White for getting a free game and then potentially squandering it, or J-Bro for giving up a game and then losing the third match. And ultimately,
we'll never know.
We'll never know.
But it's definitely David White.
It's definitely David White.
Yeah. It's definitely him. For being the cube creator versus the CubeCon creator.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been David White for sure.
Yeah, and J-Bro showing mastery. This is a very good deck. It's quite aggressive. Haste and Menace will rule the day for round 2.
Yeah, so whenever people say, what's Live the Dream Cube about? I say, well, not a lot of attacking creatures, at least not early aggressive attacking creatures. But sure, once we get to mana 4 and 5, we've got haste, we've got power, we can attack. Like, how else can a black-red deck fight against the might of Golos, Chromatic Orrery, and of course, fighting the old gods?
By removing your opponent from the game.
The best kind of removal is player removal.
Yeah. Everyone gets to cast Mind Twist eventually if they got cards in their opponent's hand.
That's true.
If your opponent's removed from the game, so is their hand.
So is their hand. Yep. And all the spells on the stack.
Love it. So we have one more round, and we don't know. We know that J-Bro is in the finals.
Correct. The CubeCon creator himself.
And hunting for will be his first and only trophy. This is the only draft he's done. So I know that this actually means a lot to him.
It does, yes. He's been spending so much work. Like, he's been working with people, introducing people. Do you know this? Running things in the background.
CubeCon.
He loves saying CubeCon. We played True Dungeon 2 nights ago.
We did.
A great game. And our rallying cry, CubeCon.
And J-Bro, for several rooms in a row, could only say the words CubeCon.
That was the thing. He was reduced to only saying CubeCon. He was the ranger.
Yeah.
So he would shoot his bow, CubeCon. And just let loose his arrows. Fell the werewolf.
So we are going to take a short break. And
Just
we're not a very long break, but we're going to take a short break. Do not go anywhere.
Don't.
We have a third round, the last round of the day coming up. J-Bro looking for his first and only trophy in his only draft of the weekend. We'll be back. Stick around. More Cube coming up soon.
CubeCon.